Hello guys, welcome to Crypto EMC. Today we've got a full panel. We've got Will from Wolfx Crypto. Crypto says, or aka Joe Matoshi. We've got Val Coins, Crypto God NYC Kapoor, and as you know, Mr. Wizard of Alt as well. Last but not the least. Hello everybody. Welcome to an interesting stream. There's the bells are ringing, the noises are making, and we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and everything and trading related. So over to you guys. Whoa, how are you doing, my friend? I'm gonna bring them with.
I'm doing good, dude. I'm doing good. Honestly, today is going to be interesting. It's FOMC today. It's the federal funds rate today. So it's going to be a very interesting day to trade. I typically try to avoid these days at all costs, maybe until after the decision has come out. But feeling good, though. Feeling good. Price action's been solid. Made a lot of money this past week and last week. So looking to get into it, man.
It's an interesting thing. I'll bring up a screen there before while I do that. Mr. Joe Matoshi, I'm gonna throw it to you next. Maybe give us a hello and then we can get into this from your point as well.
Absolutely. Hello, guys. Happy to be here with you all, guys, again. Excited on the road. Just not paying much attention to the markets, like as I've been sharing the past few weeks, it's a slow time. It's probably a time to rebalance portfolios, take it easy, let things do their thing. I mean, I'm a swing trader, guys. So probably not much for me in terms of calps, but alts rather. Aside from alts, I've been trading alts in the past couple of weeks as I've been driving all across the East Coast. So it's been a great period of time, and it's an last week was a very important one. If I need to share something in terms of cycles from the theory of the academy, so probably we have some sort of shift in the energy of the chart last week. Sometimes that is represented the same week. Sometimes it take a few weeks to show itself and the intentions of the price. But it's these are certainly interesting times, and not even talking about the wars, the economy, oil, all of that, but certainly interesting times. So, but I'm gonna let all the other guys say hi and enjoy the view, the ride.
Yeah, let's see how Joe's driving. Everybody rate Joe's driving. I'll give him I haven't heard any horns or anything like that, so I'll give him a 9 out of 10 for now. So in the comment section,
It looks like he's in a
rate
slight
Joe.
uptrend, Rudo. He's in a slight uptrend right now. Looks like he's nearing resistance here. We'll see in just a minute.
Yeah.
Probably hitting a fair value gap here at the intersection.
See a nice little change of character.
Yes. No drifting this week. Over to you, Val. How are you doing? And say hi to everybody.
Hi guys, I'm doing great, thank you. I hope everybody is well. Yes, we have seen a very nice push indeed for Bitcoin, but we've been discussing about us seeing a run above those. Well, at that time, the 72 high that we had, things developed in the meantime, and another high popped at 74. So basically, we discussed about a fair value gap that was pending to be filled or tested at least between 74 and 75.6. We did that. Currently, on the daily, I can say we're looking bearish, obviously. The main play here for bulls would be not to get a daily close below 71. Retest the 72 to 150, 71 to 50 is basically fine for this move to be possibly seeing higher prices. But if we start closing below 71K, then I think we'll see a retest of the monthly pivot at 68,700 pretty fast, and monthly open possibly as well, and a drop into this fair value gap on the 4 hour at around 64,500. So that would be the move. Slow, fast, I don't know how fast that would go. But if we manage to hold this 71K, I think it's possible we continue to see a push to the upside. Otherwise, the fractal that we already discussed, the one that we played back in January, was it, right? I'm forgetting things. Yeah, back in January here. Basically, yes, it is similar. Price action is a bit steeper this time around, I would say. So basically, yes, sweep and sell off. So this is why it is important for us to see the reaction in 71K, because that's basically the breakpoint for BTC bulls. I personally would like to see a move to the downside, because that would make things easier. But when have been things easy in trading, easier for getting that double bottom at least faster, or getting to the final destination of the bears faster. So it is very likely that we see maybe a hold here and a bit more continuation, more ranging. I don't expect like some bull market from here personally. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if we do hold, we've discussed this over and over again. Even during bear times, we have moves to the upside. So yeah, ideally a retest of the yearly open here at 87,500, right, would make very much sense, and a continuation to the downside is just that move would be such a large swing that I'm not really betting on it, but it is possible that we see that too before the downside.
Val, let's simplify this first. So short-term wise for the first week, let's just look at that, because you've given us a lot of info.
For today, tomorrow, you need to watch if 71 is holding. If 71 is holding, people can try placing some longs, because it is really, I don't know, the risk is pretty tight. I mean, wait for the formation first and just place the stop loss below the swing low that we will get at that point, because price action is not there yet. So we are talking about future price action. Okay. And for shorts, you need to wait for 71 to be lost. And then on whatever retest we get on the pullback to the upside, yeah, that's the retest I'm talking about, go short. It's not that complicated.
Okay, guys. So I just want to make sure I understand exactly what Val is saying here, and then we're going to move over to Kapoor. I think your screen is going to be the next one we're going to throw in there. So in short, Val, on your analysis now, we're looking at 71, and to simplify this for the audiences, we've seen here that there's major areas of resistance in the past, and typically good sell zones, when they fail, turn into good buy zones. And that's the reason we're looking for this. So we want to be bullish preemptively. Look, nobody knows what the future is going to hold, Val. That's why you've got so many different scenarios. And if we can stay above this area, we're good. And if we fall into this range, this will probably turn back into a resistance level, and that's
exactly
short.
Yeah,
correct. Okay, cool. Let's bring on Kapoor. I would love to hear his thoughts on this. Kapoor, I'm going to bring on your screen there, buddy. And maybe because everybody that has spoken up till now has been on the channel before, give us a quick intro and let the audience know who you are, and then we can get going. So over to you, buddy. Just unmute yourself as well.
I think Kapoor doesn't hear us. He has some problems.
No, he definitely heard us before. He was talking before.
I'm not sure if you guys can hear me, because
Yes,
I can't
there we
hear
go.
anyone over here.
We can hear you now.
And I don't know how to get the confirmation as well, to be honest.
Well, we can hear you, buddy.
He doesn't hear us. That's the problem.
Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna remove.
Yeah, I'm still not
screen.
able to hear anyone.
Interesting.
I'm gonna remove his screen. I'm gonna bring mine on. We can hear you. We can hear you. So hopefully he can. So I am the chart artist. We can hear you, but you can't hear us. So I'll send him a DM. Let's skip Kapoor for now. I think he's
going to come back. He's going to come back.
He's going to try again. This means Crypto God, New York City. Met him yesterday. Loved what he had to say. Hello, buddy.
Hey, how
Look
you
at that
doing?
nice looking sexy chart that you've got up there. Talk to me.
Oh yeah, just a little bit. Today's FOMC, so I feel like everything is gonna go down. So I have a little demand zone over here at 0919. So I feel like Arbitrum. I'm trading ARB. I've been trading ARB for like the past 12 days. I see like a lot of good movements, especially on the downside.
Well,
So
if
I've been
it
scalping.
works for you, that's why we always need to try and stick with the one that pays. If it pays, trade it.
Yeah, it's good for scalping. I feel like ARB has been doing a lot of like 6% up, 3% down, 6% up. You know, it's been doing some nice movements like every single day for like the past 4 days. So yeah, I'm just hoping for ARB to go down. If it doesn't go down, then we'll probably end up around the 1221 area and then go back down to this 1106 area right here.
What would be additional confirmations, or what do you look TA wise for those specific levels to trigger your entry or your exit, your sell, your buys?
I try to find zones that have like a lot of transactions. Like look at all these wicks. So I try to just find little areas that have a lot of wicks. I mark them up and I wait for them to either do a breakout or just bounce off of them. So that's how I really do my confirmation.
And then your time frame that you like to trade, because I see you've got a daily chart. Do you zoom in on smaller time frames?
No, I trade on the 5 minute, 1 minute. I personally do 75x.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, you 75x. Okay.
Yeah, 75x. Yeah. So I'm normally just scalping. Every day I just scalp.
Okay. Big 75x. I'm a favorite of 500x, but was it? What's your saying on 500x?
At the end of the day, leverage is simply a figment of the imagination. If you measure out your positions and you size accordingly, doesn't matter if you're 1x or 1000x, you get exactly the same result.
There you go. There you go. But it does look sexy if you've got 2000% on a on a tile there, on an exchange
on
tile.
PL card, yeah.
Yes, it does. It does. Okay. So currently, are you in any trades at the moment with ARB? I would assume you're in a short,
today,
or you just wait.
I normally do not trade when like there's a FOMC meeting.
Okay.
Or interest rates. I definitely don't trade during those times. But those are the best times to trade if you're scalping and you want to catch some big movements.
Yeah, I think FOMC is still 3 hours out from now. So there's still a lot that can happen in between.
Yeah, a lot of market manipulation.
So yeah, but okay, that's quite interesting. And then any thoughts on Bitcoin? While I have you on there, I think Kapur is getting his charts ready as well. Any thoughts BTC wise? Have you been paying attention to it? Because I know the story is Bitcoin is the rising tide that rises all the ships. So if Bitcoin pumps, your coin should do well. Do you have a little bit of a correlation in that? Do you consider that in your trading?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I always open up these two charts right here. So I always have the Arbitrum and I always have the Bitcoin. So right now, as you can see, Bitcoin's in a little demand zone. So it's doing a little pump. And normally Arbitrum will be doing a pump as well. Like as you can see, it's doing a hammer candle right now. So it's going up a little bit, right? Let's see, it's on a 5 minute.
We've got market open in 6-7 minutes.
Yeah, so 7 more minutes.
Yeah, then it's going to be interesting to have a look at that. Let's quickly bring Kapur. Kapur, can you say something? I'm giving up on you.
Can you guys hear me?
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Awesome,
Nice.
Kapur. Okay, buddy. Nice to have
Nice.
you here as well. I'm going to bring up your screen quick. There's all the bubbles. What are we looking at?
Yeah. What I'm showing you guys is obviously the bubbles. Market is in this situation, which is extremely red. And why is it happening is very important. So what happened, like, I think half an hour back was that Israeli Broadcasting Authority said that the Israeli army is preparing to launch a wide-scale attack on infrastructure in Iran. And Iran basically said that they'll be retaliating. So what happened after that was very simple. Oil started to move towards the upside. all the risk on started to move towards the downside. And here we have the bubbles, which were green this morning, but now they are red. But it's not too bad, to be honest with you. If I actually look at the Bitcoin chart, you're seeing a very, very simple range. And I'm a price action trader, okay? And I trade swing mostly. I'm in a trade as well. I'm going to show you guys. So this range, which is a 40-day long range, already had one deviation over here, which was on 4th of March. And now the price actually went above the range and now trying to come back above this EMA ribbon and trying, maybe it tries to consolidate. But as someone said before me, the most important day, one of the most important days, FOMC. You've got FOMC literally in 4 hours, 35 minutes and 3 odd seconds. But people believe it's a nothing burger because, you know, there won't be a rate cut or a rate hike because there's a 99% chance nothing is happening. But in my opinion, it matters because you've got a dot plot coming, first thing. And then you've got Powell speaking as well. There will be volatility. And one bad thing is that the dot plot will say that this time we're going to have one rate cut in 2026 and one rate hike. Earlier, it was priced in that we will have 2 rate cuts. So this is a little bit difficult. And I believe that, you know, Powell is going to be a little hawkish as well, which can send the price towards the downside. I'm expecting Bitcoin to hold here, which is why I'm in a long position over here on Solana. So this is a very small position to show, but mainly in my real account, this is a funded account and funding account, which is a demo account. But in my real account, I've got a bigger position and I still have another open order for Solana at 89.5. Now, why do I have this position is because of this chart, this beautiful chart, proper consolidation in this ascending triangle. Again, it had a nice deviation on this day, which was 4th of March, but now went up, came back down. Let's consolidate a little bit and then move towards the upside. So first limit already hit, second I'm waiting for, and that is my stance right now, waiting for the FOMC and the markets open, to be honest.
Awesome. So we need to talk about the dot plot a little bit later on. But while we're getting ready for that, and you're throwing in dates, you're opening the argument that Will and Mr. Crypto says needs to come on, because I mean, Will, you've basically adopted Ikimoko completely now, and Joe is the dates guy as well with his system. So let's see, maybe there's something interesting. So I've got your chart there on Will and Joe. Maybe you guys can comment.
Yes. So I guess I'll go here. I mean, honestly, Ichimoku, when Joe introduced it to me, I had been somewhat familiar with it, but didn't really understand it. And then I started utilizing it, and I just instantly like clicked for me, man. I was like, oh, like this just makes so much sense. I can follow trends really well with this. Like a lot of these areas are respected. Like price respects a lot of these areas. Even if you go back, just like back in January, you can see on the daily chart here that price respected the cloud right here, and I mean, right there, just came out like the cloud smacked it right down. It couldn't break out of there, and then we just went lower, of course. And like, there's a lot of indicators kind of flashing there, telling us that it was going to happen. So, this is the daily chart right here. The reason I'm showing the daily is because if you look at the weekly, it's just like chaos here. It's not basically it's depressing. We bounced off the 200-week EMA here. Yeah, right. We bounced off the 200-week EMA. We had the lagging span kind of recovering here as well, but price action is still like very, very bearish. You have the blue line here, the conversion line, still well below this baseline. And with the baseline flattening like that, that creates for a strong resistance level. But not only that, you have a massive separation between the two. And so what this tells me is that obviously, I mean, I've talked about this before on streams and on spaces, but these two lines need to meet. They need to like link up together all the time. Their destiny is intertwined essentially. And so at some point, this blue line will either rise to meet the baseline, or the baseline will fall to meet the blue line. And this price action, granted, we could see a nice little run up, you know, because of that, because of these lines need to meet. We could see a run up to 80,000, 82,000, etc. But then you have to really think about this right here, this cloud. So you have this red cloud forming. It's getting wider, which means more bearish momentum. That acts as a resistance. Since we fell below the cloud here, this now acts as a resistance for us, not a support. As if you look back here, I mean, this green cloud pretty much acted as a support all last cycle, all the way from October 2023 to now. We just, we kind of trended up, came back down, hit the cloud, bounced off, came down, hit the cloud, bounced off, etc. But yeah, now that we're through the cloud, it now turns into a resistance for us. And so I'm still overall bearish until we break out of that cloud on the weekly. But if you zoom in on the daily, you can take advantage of some of the, quicker price action happening. So let's go ahead and do that. So right here, where is it?
I've
right
got a
here,
question.
Yes.
If I'm allowed to interrupt you real
Yeah,
quick.
you can. You can always interrupt.
Because you're on a good roll there. But do you mind zooming into literally the middle of your chart there, where we went into the cloud the first time now with this bearish trend? And I want to ask a question, because this is a human psychology thing, and I think you guys can agree with me. We tend to want to make reason out of patterns. We try to want to make something make sense. So immediately looking at what you're saying is, if you look at your left-hand side, the red cloud on the screen, price went down and tested the bottom of the cloud and then went for an edge-to-edge kind of trade from the one side to the other side. Are you anticipating this as a potential fractal? What's your feeling on that? Or am I reading into this too much? Am I trying to make
So you're saying, like, do I anticipate that we could get some price action in the cloud, like on the upside, and then just get rejected again?
Yeah, do an edge to edge, because I mean, if I look at the top range of your cloud, that long flat horizontal line, that's normally a very good resistance level. What's the price point for that? That's
78,000, 79,000. Yeah.
So what's your feeling on that? And then maybe Joe can weigh in on that.
Yeah, so my feeling on this is that that's totally plausible. The thing with the cloud is it does act as a resistance, but it doesn't mean you can't trade inside of it. I kind of call it no man's land, because you don't really know where this thing's going. So typically, if you want to trade the cloud, you can, but something like maybe a patient trader would do, or like someone who's maybe a swing trader would be to wait for a breakout of the cloud here, and then wait for a retest to then bounce off the cloud and go higher, something like this. So like you might see a price action like this, and then maybe bounce off the cloud here, and then go rip higher, and that might be something someone would do. Yeah, right.
I done my work here.
He's done his work here, yeah.
Next year.
So if you wanted to trade in the cloud though too, I mean, that's totally plausible. You have a couple of bullish indicators here. You have the lagging span breaking out of the price action here above price action, which is bullish. You have the conversion line above the baseline here, and they're separating, they're spreading out, which you could perceive as bullish with the conversion line coming up here. But something I'm just very wary of is trading in the cloud. So could I see myself scalping? Sure, 100% here, but I'm definitely still overall bearish until we break out of the cloud. And even the 200-week EMA here, like this orange line I have right here, like that is something that screams bearish to me, that we're still below that. So I'm very conservative in that approach, in the spot trading, especially on this stuff. Leverage trading wise, though, I'll be scalping within this cloud all day long. I'm just going to kind of zoom in on my earlier time frames there for that one. But I just wanted to kind of give you an overarching view there. Joe, any comments from you, Sensei?
No, yeah, I mean, you said it all. I mean, there's nothing really you said it right. When the price it's inside the Kumo, it's just depicts a big fight between bulls and bears. There's obviously no trend. I mean, if you go to a smaller time frame, you will see the trend that is happening within that cloud. But in that time frame that you're looking at right now, basically it's a fair game between the two of them, because there is no trend. So what the market is doing at that point is just trying to decide whether it is enough demand for the price to break that Kumo, or if it's just going to be, just a small support retest, broken support retest. So, and that's basically the whole thing about that Kumo. So if you want to wait, if you're trading that Kumo on that time frame, probably it's the wisest thing to do is to wait for a retest of the bottom part of it, because the invalidation would be really easy. The invalidation will be the price breaking the Kumo. So you can wait until the price reaches the bottom of the Kumo and open a trade there along that area. And then if the price breaks the Kumo, then it's a clear invalidation that the bearish momentum is going to continue. Or If it bounces, then you start to be in profit, and then you start to see that it might be the start of a new trend, of a new bull trend, a new bull impulse. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
And
yes, I
if you
mean
zoom in too,
that's
like you
what it is.
said,
But
Joe, if you zoom in, like you said, like look at the 12-hour. This is kind of why I went long, short term on Bitcoin was the 12-hour Ichimoku. So like right here, we had the lagging span break into the cloud. We had price break out of the cloud here, and that's when I longed was like right about here, with a really tight stop
yeah,
there at the bottom of the price action, and like we just kept going, we just ripped, and I made a really good bag on that one. So I think like zooming in and using
that's
these
it.
smaller time frames can work out, but yeah, obviously it's really important to pay attention to the overall trend, like the long-term time frames, like we talked about in streams before, where Ichimoku is a lot more effective on the weekly, on the daily, as opposed to zooming into the
Well,
15-minute chart and saying like, oh my god, this is like so bullish.
the thing is,
Yeah, like
the beauty. I mean, the way I see it, at least, the beauty of Ichimoku is that it gives you context. So all time frames are mathematically interconnected. No matter what you say, no matter what we see, I mean, the 1 minute chart is as connected to the 1 monthly chart as you can get it. So if you do a thorough read of all of the time frames, you will get a pretty accurate context of what's going on. Aside from other systems, you might isolate the 1 hour or the 4 hour or the daily because that's what you trade. But in reality, I like the fact that you get context. For example, if I'm on the daily and we start a bull trend, I know I need to be cautious of that bull trend because a weekly is really far away from starting a bull trend. So that gives you an idea of, oh, you know what? Might be the start of something, or this is just going to be chopped for a couple more months. So when you read all of the time frames as a single unit, then you will get a beautiful concept that is going to be really hard to miss if you remain composed and objective about what you're looking in the chart. That's it, simple as that.
Yeah, same. I couldn't have said it better myself. So that's pretty much the Ichimoku take, the Ichimoku weather report on on Bitcoin.
Okay, so we've got now too many cooks in the kitchen, as they would say, could spoil the brew. So how do we simplify this for everybody that is watching? In short, so I'm going to leave Will and Joe to kind of just give us a one-liner for now. For the immediate guy, the guy is sitting here and saying, okay, Rudo has been saying on this YouTube channel we're going to potentially go to 80K. Is he smoking something? And then regarding this, what's your take then? Yes, no, where's the
time
caution?
frame? Which time
frame? Daily time frame.
Yeah, daily time frame. I mean, look at the Ichimoku. It tells it all.
Go ahead,
Man. Like 79,000 is like that top of the cloud there. So 80K in that range, I could see us climbing to there. Now, a key thing would be if we break 80K and then retest and stay above the cloud. Like that's a key bullish indicator for me. Could we rise up there until then? Of course, 100%. Like I could totally foresee us maybe creating some kind of bull trap or just having some bullish momentum to the upside here to that resistance level, to that 79, that 80K there. But I just, until we break out of it, I'm still trending bearish in my opinion.
Wizard, your thoughts on the crazy that Will is saying, or are you saying that it's making sense?
It makes sense. I will say I'm fairly unplugged to crypto at the minute, but I do see.
You're not allowed to say that. Then.
Of course.
Then your answer needs to be no comment. Let's talk.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I am currently short Bitcoin, but
Nice.
I also haven't been paying much attention to the charts as of late. But yeah, I mean, ultimately it was due a relief rally. It's getting to a point now where I think we're going to see a retest and down. Looking at things from a purely macro sense, the conflict in Iran, I don't think the markets have properly begun to process just the damage that does, and I think some of that was reflected in PPI. I don't know if anyone saw the PPI numbers, but that came in hotter than expected, and PPI is always a front runner to what you could potentially see in CPI. The first sign of inflation comes in PPI, and when PPI comes in hot, I mean, inflation was always going to go up when you have oil at $100. PPI coming in hot this early probably is not a good sign that that things will be rosy. And ultimately, the Powell thing, just to touch on an earlier comment, for me, it'll be interesting to hear Powell's comments on it, because I think we are in a situation where things could get very ugly very quickly from an inflationary point of view. And we saw the Bank of Australia raised rates today. There's talk of the UK potentially getting to a point where rates may get risen. And it wouldn't surprise me if this conflict continues on and we see this going on towards the back end of the year or even sort of late summer, that you may then start to hear things from the FOMC and the Federal Reserve that they may be looking at potential rate rises.
That makes
All of
for
which is not good.
interesting
But that
point.
was my macro view.
Yeah, sorry, just wanted to add to this. Yeah, you're absolutely right when you say, you know, Bank of Australia and the United Kingdom as well. So what's happening is, as I said, you know, if someone would have said this a month ago, and Ryan is on point here, no one would have believed this. But there is a rate hike odd right now going towards the upside this year, which is not at all good for the markets. Now, what I believe is that we are still in this zone, which is we are in a bear market, obviously, right? And I do not, I'm okay for Bitcoin to go towards the upside to that 80K level, which is going to be a counter trend rally in this bear market. So it's a correction in this bear market. Someone was saying this in the last spaces as well. So that was a beautiful thing, I think, Rudo. So if we go towards that 80K level, I'm super happy because I am in a long right now. And in the end, I believe that BTC should be going towards the downside. And this macro situation is not at all good. You've got this FOMC coming in, Iran escalation. So two things. Plus, you've got the PPI, which was extremely hot. Like that was a proper miss. Now, Powell has something to work with here. Obviously, you know, in today's speech, he can be hawkish because of the PPI. And he's got only two FOMCs left, to be honest. So he can do whatever he wants to, in my opinion. Plus, yeah, we have to be extremely conservative while taking the trades. Even if you look at some of the altcoins, for example, Solana, I just showed you guys, and Zcash as well, which was showing a lot of strength. Look at this beautiful chart, like broke out of a major trend line resistance, and now actually coming back down to give that retest of the whole number, which is $250 level. So this is the level I'm looking forward to, this $250 level. If it holds here and consolidates, move towards the upside, then would be really amazing. Now, if BTC actually gets rejected before the 80K level, then yeah, it happens. You know, it's going to be a proper fake out. And what we'll be looking forward to is towards this chart, which is the first deviation, second deviation, a double top kind of structure, go below the EMA ribbons, and boom, you've got a nice shot towards the downside until these range lows. And you can obviously TP in the middle. You get me? So that is what I'll be looking forward to. Right now, I'm not short because I still believe Bitcoin is above this, you know, range, this whole range, the 40-day long range, and other altcoins as well. Solana and other altcoins, Ethereum too. Ethereum, if you look at Ethereum, it's also above the range for now. So until the time these altcoins and Bitcoin is above the range, I'm all right. I'm okay to be in longs with an invalidation, obviously. So that's what I'm looking at.
And then, yeah, these time frames, just for the audience sake, I mean, these are higher time frames, guys. These aren't leveraged kind of buy zones. These are spot swings. If you want to leverage, you need to zoom in. You won't be able to do this kind of, or carry the risk to invalidation on leverage. You're going to wreck yourself. So that's just a bit of an added to this. So Val, Wizard, I mean, guys.
I wanted to say that I shorted BTC yesterday at 70 in the fair value gap right at the middle here in the New York session. So right here at 74,800, I was waiting for it all morning, well, my morning. So through Asia, London, etc. And I just took profit below the weekly open and the region that we discussed. I'm looking for this daily reaction between 72 to 250. So 250 was my exit, and 71 to 50. So basically, let's say 71, so it's easier to remember. If we hold, then regardless if it pushes up or not, I'm going for scalp long. And if we don't, then I'll be watching for a rejection, probably here at around 73, 400, 500. So around yesterday's lows, let's say, which is very possible, or, how price action will develop. So for swing shorts, absolutely, probably it is best to wait for the break below 71K first, right? So you can confirm basically the loss of this short-term move we had during the last 2 weeks to the upside. Okay. But for scalps, I mean, you can find scalps every day. It depends on your time and mood, I guess.
So Val, it's fine then. I want to go long right now. So you can find a reason for me to go long there in the chart.
Right now, I wouldn't. I would wait for some kind of structure with the 4 hour. I don't like it. I mean,
I've got an
I would
itchy
wait a little
finger.
bit.
I wanna get along in it. Come on, am I being
Well,
reckless?
you need to wait. You need to wait a little bit. You need to see some kind of bottom information here.
But what if it's a
This
shakeout?
can very well. I think right now, on how we look, we'll make another low here. You just got guys said we have all these meetings. So basically, look for longs, probably most likely between 71,900 and 71,400. That's where I would look for a bounce. We have like an OB here or something on high time frames.
Okay, so there you have it, guys. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to bring Mr. Crypto God NC. I mean, he's been very quiet, buddy. You still there, my friend?
I am here. I'm trying to just check out the chart, trying to see what's going on.
So you're looking at ARB and obviously keeping Bitcoin in the back of your head. So if I want to go long Bitcoin right now, you should have some sort of a bullish signal or a reason. And if you don't have, that would also be like a little bit of a confidence for me to not press the buy button. Correct?
Yeah, kinda. If you want to go long on Bitcoin, let's see. Let's pull up Bitcoin.
See if I'm crazy or not.
No, right now we're in a support. We are like in a support area, but it looks like it's gonna break down. So I don't think that's gonna happen. But if you were to make a long, I would wait for a break of this trend line. So maybe I would go into a long. Maybe it'll go up to like 72.6. And then maybe go into a long, but nah. Right now, it's following the trend line. It's going down.
Don't try and catch a falling knife. That's the consensus between Val and Crypto God. Correct.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Sorry, I had to play a little bit of devil's advocate because I mean it's easy. It's easy, we look at the stuff and we say, yeah, go long, go short, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's hard to you can get swept up on the bigger scheme of things and saying, well, okay, if there's going to be an 80K, maybe this is a good shakeout buy, those kind of things. I know when I was learning or starting out as a trader, that would be the stupid kind of stuff I'll do, thinking that this is the moment, so not all price values are created equal, guys. And that's basically the takeaway, just because it's 72 now or 71, it was almost 71, doesn't mean that it's the right 71. Wait for the structures to form, basically. Right, let's maybe take the conversation a little bit away from Bitcoin. I've got a question here from Fabrice. I would love to hear your thoughts on XMR. XMR privacy coin. Well, what's your thoughts on privacy tokens? I know you're big deep in, so what's your take on that, man?
I like the premise of privacy tokens. I don't trade enough of them to really give a technical take on them, but I do like the idea that transactions should be like you should have a right to privacy even on the blockchain. Like I think that just like there's a fundamental thing that speaks out to people, philosophical idea that really rings to people. Granted, is this a Monero? This is Monero right here. Yeah, Monero is like one of the more well-known ones. I know that we had Zcash obviously starts spiking up a lot. There's a project I follow called Anyone Protocol. They're really big on privacy as well. So overall, I remain, I don't want to say bullish, but I have hopes for the sector, but I just don't really have a comment just because I don't really follow the privacy stuff too much. But price action wise, I would love to hear your take, Rudo, on XMR.
Well, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna take the, I don't know which side of the argument to take because I kind of don't like it. The thing is with the Genius Act still in air, I don't know which direction the market is going to move towards, and that makes for something quite hard for people to just keep your fingers on to know what to do. So we had Kapoor looking at Zcash, and maybe we'll bring up his chart afterwards, because the big one is XMR gives you privacy without any compromise. Zcash gives you privacy with the added layer of regulatory plug-in, meaning that you will be able to, in the end of the day, have certain information made available. And as much as we hate that, we also need regulatory framework, because then it creates structure for us to remain, within a bounds. Otherwise, it's literally wild west. So whichever way that goes is where the trick fundamental, gap is going to be for guys to try and follow this. Price action wise, XMR I would stay away from, purely because what you've had was you had long drive, nice bullish move, and then you had this massive bear trap. Now, what will happen when it's fast like this? They typically don't last. And upside in this kind of way, when I say stay away from, I mean like from buying long term right now, is that it will inevitably go and visit imbalances and gaps. There's many of those. We can debate where they're going to be, but the bigger picture is, as soon as you start going weekly, daily time frame, there's one rule that I know to be true, and that is in bear markets, and I think we all can agree, if it's not even, it's too soon for this to be a bear market over, because the bull market spans over a long period of time. Your bear market doesn't end up being done in 2 months. It just doesn't work that way. That what will happen is, from a long-term point of view, statistically, this is always the area where your reaccumulation needs to occur. That's your 887, 786, 618. And this means that something that looks like this, from a fractal point of view, needs to start occurring in there first, before you can even think about longer term upside. This is our weekly time frame. Daily, 4 hour, these kind of things, you can try and keep up to date with the waves and such. But what I would say right now is, because we in this choppy environment, it makes it really hard for you to read the charts while in. Normally afterwards, after the fact, you'll easily see what you should have or could have done. But for now, I think it's a tricky thing. So wait for at least $400. Maybe if you're trapped, you could potentially still see a 400 or a 380, something like that. Be part of the resistance. Don't try and be support for this. Be part of the resistance. Sell when you hit resistance levels. You can rather buy back if you're wrong later, and expect that something like this will have a correction, and then inevitably we'll have a completion of wave. So that's my feeling on XMR at this stage. I don't know what you guys think.
My theory is, whenever a hack happens, one of the privacy coins goes up, either Zcash or XMR. It's a real good thesis.
The market loves a narrative. There's nothing like a good old narrative to create something to pump. I was talking about, everybody was saying, what's the narrative now again? Hyperliquid. All the big accounts are saying you need hype in your long-term bag. The guys that said you need Zcash the other day, when everybody got wrecked. So my feeling is, just take these things level by level, guys. Don't let those good fundamental reasons to buy be the predominant force for these things. So yeah, good point there. And I mean, there's your Zcash. All good and dandy, but what needs to happen for this thing is simple. Before you can really think of this, you need this, and you can see it's starting to accumulate within that range, but it's too soon. You need a lot of accumulation for a big move. A little accumulation gives you a little simple. So yeah, anything else? Let's quickly see. We've got a question about Kapoor, or anybody else want to talk about Uniswap. What's your take on that?
Uniswap.
Uniswap. Interesting.
Yeah, Uniswap.
Uniswap. Why are we looking at? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes,
you.
Yeah.
buddy.
Why are we looking at Uniswap? I think we shouldn't be, because firstly, it does not have any kind of narrative. And at the same time, the price action is not looking good too. So if I look at a clean chart for Uniswap and I start it again, start it over, then this is what it's doing, which is just creating a simple parallel channel and trying to break towards the downside. Now, this is a little bit higher time frame, very high time frame. So you can go on lower time frames as well, and you can see here. So what I expect this thing to do is, obviously, if the markets do not behave, then come towards the downside, can convert into a good short position over here. But yeah, in my opinion, we should be only focusing on the things which actually have some kind of narrative or news as well, and then combine it with the price action. For example, Astro yesterday came out with their mainnet. And as soon as Astro came out with their mainnet, the price started to dump towards and went towards the downside. This was a very, very easy short. Look at that. So it was a sell the news event, right? And right now as well, you've got Hyperliquid showing strength in the market. While the whole market is going towards the downside, Hyperliquid had this candle, and it was a news candle. So they got S&P listed on XYZ 100, and this is why the price was moving towards the upside. Now, what I do is I always tend to have this, small watch list, which I call my alpha watch list. The tokens that I'm looking at, it helps me to, because there are, let's say, 39 million tokens in the market, and you have to make sure that you are in the best ones, the ones which have a narrative, or the ones which are good looking price action wise. So the first one is Solana. I want to talk about this watch list quickly. The first one is Solana, which is sitting at the support, breaking down right now, like trying to hold this level. This is a key level, right? And if it does not hold, then it's going to come to this trend line, which has been a nice support actually since 6th of February, which was February low, and then here as well in late February, March, and then whole of February and March, it was a nice support. So even if the price comes towards the downside and goes up, then that's going to be a good thing for Solana. And that's obviously the chart I'm looking at. And then you've got Syrup. So Syrup
Right
is a
before we move
chart.
over into Syrup, I wanna keep us on this topic real quick, if you don't mind. Can we have a look at Jasmine real quick, and while we're on that, and then maybe JTO and Yup while we're on, because
Oh yeah, sure. So now
stick to that real quick.
Okay, so you want me to show the charts of these, right?
Yeah, give me your
Let's do
thoughts, and
that.
anybody else. I mean,
Yeah.
guys, bring in your
Let's
voice.
do that.
Let's.
So it's very simple. So I've been looking at this chart, and it runs. When it runs proper. And right now it's in this consolidation, the massive consolidation, 46-day long. We are on a 4-hour chart. Obviously, there was this deviation. So this deviation is the February low. And this is what I said. When it goes down or moves towards the upside, there is a massive run. Like, it shows extreme volatility on both the sides. So it got perfectly rejected here at the top of the range, where it was getting rejected all this time. And now you should, obviously, in the middle of the range, you shouldn't be doing anything with the chart, right? Either you buy the support or you sell the resistance. That is the rule. So Jasmine, I wouldn't do anything in this no trade zone, and I would wait for it to actually come towards the downside to give a nice, short opportunity, or move up and try to take that double top on 4-hourly time frame. So that's what I'm looking forward to on Jasmine. But this proper consolidation, traders who like consolidation, are literally trading it this way, which is shorting the resistance, longing the support. But for the new traders, they liquidated in ranges because they are going wrong. So yeah, I think it's one of the easiest way to trade.
That's a good one. Then let's bring in Wolf's chart, and then I think he's got.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have my Jasmine pulled up on Ichimoku, and I mean it's pretty much exactly what Kapoor said. If you look, I mean this is the daily chart. It's just been nothing but down only for this thing. It's like it's had a rough time trying to break out of these clouds. Like, granted, you have small moments here where people would think, if they were using Ichimoku, oh look, like we broke out here, guys. Let's get bullish, like right here, for instance, and then just get smacked down by that 200-week EMA. Go right through the other cloud there. Same thing happens here. We break out of the EMA right here. Then it retests, fails the retest, comes lower, etc. This chart does not look appetizing to me at all. Some people, might think themselves, or some spot traders might sit there and say, "But guys, look, we're at this like long-term support. Let's go to the weekly. Look at the price action. Oh my God, look, we're at this support from over here from like the 0.006 on Jasmine." I mean, if you want to justify it like that, sure, but I need to see more verification on the cloud here, especially on the weekly. Granted, you do have the bearish cloud here, like really thinning out, if you can look right here. So that just signals to me that a lot of bearish momentum has died down, if you look at that. So the thinner the cloud is on Ichimoku, the less momentum there is, the less the slower the momentum's getting for that move. And so bearish momentum has died down quite a bit. So you could justify that the cloud might flip soon, and we might, end up having price action come to the upside, break out of the cloud. But until that happens, I'm good, bro. Like, I'm not really touching this. I need to see the lagging span break out of the price action here. I need to see the blue line cross the red line here. And I need to see at least some price action entering the cloud or getting close to it, before I can even justify a long on this one.
There we go, guys. I mean, I think you guys, between the two of you, knocked it out of the park. Joe, is there anything you want to add to this? I see we've lost a couple of guys, but some were just joining in for a short period of time. So maybe Joe, you're past there. You're doing baby duty now, or?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I'm fitting the baby right now, but nothing to add there. I mean, there are a lot of alts that move. Well, I don't trade any sort of fundamental analysis at all, but I mean, the one that move, and something like that, like Jasmine. Is that Jasmine, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, probably. It has the volume. There's nothing for it right now until some volume shows up. So
yeah,
I mean,
I was gonna say volume's a key indicator too. Like, there's if you look down here, like the volume has just died down horrendously. Now, again, granted, we have entered the cloud on the daily chart here, and we could see a pump up in the near future. Like, that's not out of the question there. But is it sustainable? Is it sustainable? Is the question.
That's where cycles play a big role, because I will have to measure that at least on the weekly or something to see if we are around a pivot, a major pivot, because it could be the start of something or not. But until you get volume, which is not predictive but reactionary analysis, then you won't know. But if you measure the cycles and you understand time, then you might be predicting some potential bull trend that could be starting right now. But I will have to go deeper on that one to see where we at on the weekly or the monthly even.
Yeah.
Let me grab.
So let's take this. So let's take this info, and I don't know if crypto God, you've got a chart you want to say or want to share. Any
No, I
notes on
didn't
this?
want to. I really didn't want to show the chart. I just wanted to say that Jasmine is one of those coins that it just has a lot of like big Chinese investors. So the reason why a lot of people are speaking about this coin is because probably like 6, 7, 8 months ago it was running, and it did a nice run. So it gained a lot of momentum, a lot of attention, but it's one of those coins right now, news, like something with the news or something with more investors or something like that would pump the price. It's a news type of coin. I don't think that TA would help you with this coin that much.
Then while we're on that topic, then what you're saying, let's then talk Tau, because I mean, this is the new favorite for everybody. Everybody's talking about this one now, AI and the play there. So, well, maybe let's start with your chart, then we can work through Kapoor and everybody, and what you're feeling on that then, Crypto God.
Well, which chart do you want me to pull up?
Tau.
Gotcha.
Tau or TAO?
Yeah, TAO. Because I mean, that's now heavily being shilled by the Arthur Hayes and those kind of guys, saying that this is now the AI play, and I mean it had a little out of nowhere dead cat bounce, if you want to call it, or you could say.
I just checked on my phone the monthly chart for Jasmine, and it's unlikely to move in any meaningful way, at least until August, September. So nothing to look there. from my
So there you have it, guys. So yeah, Jasmine is gonna park it on the shelf for now.
What's the other one you're looking at?
Tau.
We want to look at
T-A-O.
TAO. So Kapur,
TAL?
we just need
Oh.
TAO. Tango, Alpha. I don't know what's
I've,
Alpha.
Oh,
I've got my chart up as well if you
This-
want me to talk about Tau.
Yeah.
Maybe
Pull
that
up
one.
Kapoor's chart. Pull up Kapoor's chart, Ruda.
Okay, give me a sec.
Perfect.
I'm just gonna.
Because
I
I've
went
been
so big.
paying
You'll-
attention to this chart. Yeah, I've been paying attention to this chart from some time. I had a long as well on this. Now, why was it moving towards the upside? Is because it's one of the main leaders in AI. Obviously, few people started to talk about it. Few big people started to talk about it. Obviously, you know what it matters. You know why the thing is moving towards the upside. But look here on higher time frame. Look where it bumped. So you had this beautiful support over here in June 2025, and then September, and then here as well, which became a resistance, and then resistance again in January. And look where it basically got rejected. Did I get a short position? No, I actually went long in this area. I couldn't get the short position. But if you look at the bubbles, one main thing about Tau is that Tau is not one token. Tau has the whole ecosystem, right? And currently I'm in this artificial intelligence narrative on weekly time frame, and you can see all these SN5, SN29, SN93, 64, 24, 68, all these are actually Tau subnets, right? These are Tau ecosystem tokens. So it's not only Tau which is moving towards the upside, it's also these subnets which are in extreme greed. So while something is in extreme greed, we shouldn't be buying that, right? And while something is at the resistance, we should definitely not buying that. So what I will suggest people is to not look for a position in Tau when it comes to a long position or a trade. Rather be looking for a double top and then short this thing. Because and if you want to, then if these subnets actually come towards the downside, and whenever they show any signs of life once again, you can try to long this. Because Tau is not the best trade when it comes to Tau itself, which is BitTensor itself. The main trade is the ecosystem tokens, which are these subnets. So yeah, you can create a watch list of these subnets, and whenever Tau comes down to a nice support, or you think that it's going to move towards the upside, or you believe that there are people who are going to buy it, you can actually long this. Easy.
Good points there. Good points. Well said there. Anybody else thoughts on Tau?
The market cap's pretty high and it's pretty low on the charts, so it will take a lot to push Tau up, but it could go up if there's some transactions or some type of money inflow going on.
For me, the
Yeah,
only one thing that I'm uncomfortable
ahead.
with is the fact that AI in itself is a value destroyer. So I mean, I'm subscribing to the narrative as it's taking away more white collar. It's going to indirectly make itself cheaper by growing and becoming more efficient. So I don't really know, unless I don't know. Everybody's saying, but now the infrastructure is still going to be the area where the play is. But for me, it's a tough one at this stage to say. I know that crypto bubbles or bubbles in any way is an over rationalization or an unrational overvaluation of something, and it could be that. Tau being where it's at right now, I mean, it swept lows. It's not making higher highs. The play would be personally for me just to try and be more bearish on it than bullish. That's my feeling. Over to you, Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing with Ichimoku. I mean, like if you look at the weekly, like we swept those lows beautifully, but if you look here, we still have this conversion line that's below this massively flat baseline, and that signals bearish to me. You have the lagging span here below price action, that signals bearish to me, and we're still below this cloud here on the weekly. So overall, it's still pretty bearish. But I do want to point out, where was it? On the daily chart, actually, we did rip above the daily cloud there. So if you zoom in, you had
the daily starting a bull trend.
Exactly. Yeah. The daily starting a bull trend. And like the thing I love about this when you zoom in is like, I mean, hell, you had the perfect meetup here, the conversion line, the baseline. They've moved in tandem this entire time. They've stayed connected. They stayed together this entire time. The lagging span absolutely ripping through the cloud and price action, which is super bullish. And then, of course, you have price action ripping through the cloud right here. Also, I want to note that the 200-week EMA is here, and we actually just went above, and we're in this area retesting this area area now. So I'm curious to see if we can bounce off this cloud here, bounce off a lot of the price action that we've seen so far, and rip even higher past the 200-week EMA. So the daily is ripping bullish. Weekly is still pretty bearish, but daily looks actually pretty decent for Tau. So go ahead, Joe. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, so the same thing. It's starting a bull trend on the daily with massive volume, buying volume. So, I mean, regardless of what happens, it's just starting a bull trend. It is what it is. I mean, there's no other way to say that. Now, whether this bull trend fails or not, that's a different story. I think this is going to be a fake out because of Ichimoku structure, like more advanced Ichimoku readings tells you that it might be a fake breakout, but still it is a bullish breakout. It's likely to go down again in the future, but it's looking good, and there's no other way to say. I find interesting when people say like, well, this is at the bottom, and I see this and that fundamental reading, and it's impossible for it to pop up, and then the thing goes 100x, and because people try to rationalize something that it cannot be rationalized, which is emotions and greed and fear. The same thing happens on the other spectrum of the move when people are like, yeah, this is very strong, $100 is the strongest support, this person buy, this person mentioned that the company is going to use a token, so it's impossible for it to go to $10, and then a year after that you see the token trading at $3. So I think it's a double-edged sword when people try to rationalize some of these movements, because that's exactly where you get surprised. That's exactly where you miss massive gains, and that's exactly where you fail to sell something that is about to go down really hard. So I think it's important to keep a balanced mindset when it comes to that, and the expectations and what we think is possible or not.
Yeah, so I think rationalization creates safety, and safety means that there's less risk psychologically, and that's when people get hurt. So as soon as, like you say, as soon as you start rationalizing because of this and that and all these reasons, that's when you're going to get your fingers burned, because
I mean, exactly. It's like that, because obviously as humans we cannot thrive in the face of uncertainty.
We hate it.
That's the worst, and that's why the market behaves the way it does, because we hate uncertainty. We have daily habits, we do the same things every day, so when we face uncertainty we go crazy. So we try every single way, with every single tool, with every single measurement we can do, to eradicate that uncertainty from the chart. But actually it's about embracing the uncertainty and being mindful of the risk in front of it, rather than trying to eradicate that uncertainty, because it will never happen.
It will never happen. Yeah. Crypto God, you've got your chart on there. Anything you want to add on this one? Because I'm leaning to maybe sharing a buy zone here or there, maybe on this one as well. But I'm going to give you a moment before I grab it.
I think we might be going down just a little bit, but like I said earlier, this is one of those coins where the news is going to pump the price. Like, I just went on Google and I searched up the news for Tau, and like they're shooting out news like every week. Like there's a lot of good news. So that's probably like the reason why the price has been shooting up all the way up to where we are right now, and we'll probably go down into that my little demand zone that I got over there.
Yeah, it's one of those things for me from a charting point of view, is that I almost want to embrace the news, because that's the fundamentals you want. You want that drive to keep on adding fuel to the fire. And like Joe saying, we bring in more people, they become comfortable because the news is pumping it, and that just builds a nice strap. What I would say though is, from my point of view, if I'm looking at this, we've made a lower low. So as soon as you start going on to weekly time frames, and we try and have a look at what that means, is, for me to call it a bottom, I would want to have seen divergence. Now, divergence for me, in the simplest term, when we look at this from a weekly point, is that it went low, but there was no real sellers there anymore. So it's diverging. It's not a sustained move. For now, we've just bounced. So the weekly is a little tricky for me. So long term, I can't say that buy this and you'll be fine 6 months from now, in the sense it's going to just go like that. I think that's what we all can agree on. Correct, guys?
Yeah.
And from the daily time frame, if you look at where we are right now, and the rule goes as simple, guys, you can say it to yourself 20 times. Good sell zones or buy zones, when they fail, become good sell zones. That's the rule. That's the rule in trading. The market is actually very kind. We tend to say it's manipulated and it's always against you. But if you take time and just get quiet, you're going to see that it actually gives you second opportunities more than you deserve for the way you treat it. And when you have good buy zones that fail, they turn into good sell zones. And then when they fail, they'll turn into good buy zones, which means, looking at where your area is there, Crypto God, I mean, I might be a little higher than you, but just from a pure structure point of view, this would be a really good area to say, okay, right, this was a good area that failed, which means there's liquidity, there's a reason for price to go back there. And we've now, in a way, not quite there yet, but in a way, we've deleted hidden bearish divergence. So best case scenario or worst case scenario, depending if you're bull or bear now probably, is that we're in for longer accumulation rather than a trend. And this could be the beginning of it. That could lead to a long-term channel, or however your TA would be. So that's my feeling on this one. So I would say, because it's news driven, wait for the discount, wait for all those people that bought in on the news, and then maybe look for a buy.
That's definitely the move.
That's the move. There's the move. Will, what else do you have there, my friend, coin-wise? Something that we can have a look at. See, there's people talking about lit. I think Kapur had it on his list. I think he dropped off. Some guys are driving. We passed the hour. I think people are dropping off. Maybe your thoughts on that?
On
Lit.
Tau specifically, or it's on some other plays I'm looking at?
On lit, or do you have? Let's maybe
on
let's
lighter. On
Yeah.
lighter. Okay. Yeah. I did actually look at lighter the other day. So I'll pull that up. Let me just find my chat here. Let's find my
Bring
chat.
up the chart. Okay.
Lighter on Mexi. Here we go. This looks like it's sufficient enough. So I saw that on the weekly, lighter looked kind of interesting. So we had this breakout of the cloud on the weekly, and then kind of retraced back into the cloud with very weak bullish momentum. So granted, I'm not like super long on this thing necessarily, but I do like that we're like kind of consolidating at this price level, and that there was an attempt to break out of the cloud. Now, what I want to see is, since we have this like thin cloud here, I want to see price move out of it again and not necessarily stay below it, and send us to Valhalla, please. But on the daily chart, if you zoom in, we're still below the daily cloud here. We did break briefly above back there, like we just talked about, and kind of trended down. But again, just kind of nice consolidation here. This is still just a wait. This is a wait and see for me. I'm not necessarily very bullish or bearish on this thing. I do like that there was a massive amount of volume on all of these levels here as we came down. Just a lot of attention on this thing. So I am, keeping my eye on it, but I'm not necessarily long or short. This is kind of just like sit on my hands, wait and see what happens. I want to see more of this move through the cloud. I want to see this 12-hour chart flip bearish for me. This lagging span is not above the price action yet. We do have the conversion line, that blue line crossing over the red line there. So it's bullish right there. But again, we have this glaring cloud above us still. So I just want to wait. The lighter's a wait and see, but I could see myself flipping bullish for this thing, because like as you zoom in, look, 4 hour, you're above the cloud there, bullish. You zoom into the 1 hour, bullish. You zoom into the 15-minute, not as bullish, but still, somewhat bullish. So overall, I wait and see, but I could see myself flipping bullish on this pretty soon.
There you have it, guys. So that's it. Coins and plays you like. I see. Joe, there's your little one there. I can see his little one. Let's see if we can. I don't know how to do that. Let's do this. Give me a sec. Don't change. There we go. There's Joe and his little one. Oh, all cute. Look at that, nah? Awesome, buddy.
Just hello everyone, just to brighten up people's day a little bit.
Hello,
There
hello.
we go. There we
Say
go.
hello. Say hello, baby girl.
Yeah, she's like, oh,
There you go.
that's mine's sleeping right now. On mommy. Mom's passed out. Mine's sleeping with her.
Dreaming
this
about a
one-
completely different cloud than what Daddy is dreaming about.
This
Yeah.
one's falling. Hey, say hi. You open your eyes. That's Uncle William and Uncle Rudo.
Hello.
There we go. Oh,
She's
that's
so
cute.
sweet.
Oh my God, she's still in the show. All right, what we were talking about.
Let's bring up the charts again. Let's bring up the charts. There we go. Right. Okay. Coins you're looking at, my friend. Let's quickly run through our favorites.
So
about an
I
hour, 10
talked
minutes
about
in.
Eat before. I
Yeah.
want to showcase Eat. So Eat is very low liquidity here, of course. So play at your own risk. But on the daily, we did
Oh, that's a
just
nice move.
flip. Yeah, exactly. We did have some amazing moves on the daily here. We broke out of this resistance, that 3-cent resistance there that's been kind of staring us in the face. Looks like we're going for a retest in the daily, but we are above the cloud here. We broke out of the cloud. We have the conversion line over the baseline. We're above the 200-week EMA, and we have the lagging span above the cloud as well. So overall, I've flipped very, very bullish on Eat. I've been allocating to this down here, as you guys have known. I've been just buying the heck out of this thing a ton. I'm super bullish on them fundamentally speaking, but on the daily, it looks good. The weekly, obviously not enough data yet. It's a very new coin. So we go on the daily, the 12-hour here. 12-hour looks great. We're above the cloud there. Again, all these bullish indicators flashing on Ichimoku. 4-hour, same story. So all in all, I'm very bullish on the trend direction of Eat here. It's a very low market cap play. I think this is like a 6 million market cap play. So, play at your own risk, like I said. But I think there's a ton of opportunity here, and we have the green light from Ichimoku Cloud. So very, very, very bullish on that. Aoki is one that we've talked about before. Aoki's been struggling a little bit, but we have not flipped bearish necessarily. So we had the lagging span right here break out of the cloud, which is, for all intents purposes, bullish. We have the conversion line flipping below the baseline, which, they're still very tight. We could see some contention there. But we are overall trending above the cloud right here. So I do like Aoki's position still on the long side, on the bullish side. I'm still holding my spot position. Things to note are obviously the 200-week EMA still glaring above our heads here. I want to see us break above that before going hyper bullish on this thing and just shouting it from the heavens, going like, oh my God, we're all gonna be rich. This is gonna be so amazing. But overall, still in somewhat of a contention phase, but leaning bullish on Aoki. I do like the price action, like the volume on this thing still. Yeah, I like Aoki. So those are my two main plays. Eat is probably this is the largest position in my portfolio right now. My spot portfolio is Eat. I have a lot of Eat token, just full disclosure. And then Aoki is my
So that's
exactly.
all you're doing, guys. Don't
and
buy
Aoki is my second largest position in my portfolio. So yeah, I am pumping my bags to a degree. Something I thought was interesting was Hype though, Hyper Liquid. I remember I flipped bullish on this thing a little early. So back here, I was talking to Joe about it on a stream back here. And I was like, hey, we broke out of the cloud. We broke out of the, the 200-week EMA. It looks great. And then he was like, I don't know, dude. And sure enough, it came right down here. And then all of a sudden we flipped bullish again. So we break out of the cloud here, break out of the 200-week EMA. And now we have all this bullish momentum building up. And I honestly here is difficult because we are at these like nice little resistance rungs here. But if we can retest and continue climbing, the Hyper looks really good. Hyper Liquid looks amazing.
I have a resistance around 46. I'm still holding my position from $20. So
nice.
I'm pretty happy about that one. And I'm probably gonna be selling a portion of it at around 46 or something like that. Ichimoku, the TK, the Tenkan and the Kijun is about to cross, so that's a great sign actually. But still, probably more likely on the sideways aspect of it. But a nice impulse. Nothing to say about it.
There you have it, guys. So
what do you have, Rudo? Yeah, I wasn't listening, probably, but what do you have on Bitcoin?
for.
I know we're talking alts like for the next few moves, or maybe probably a play. Are you exposed like to longs or something like that?
Yeah, well, I'll bring up my BTC chart. We can quickly talk through it, and then we'll take it from there. It's this chart. Let's do this chart, and then I'll bring up my BTC. So where am I at with Bitcoin? For me, I want to use this chart. So I've already got all the TA drawn out, so I don't need to redo it again. So I'm going to just do this, make this quiet, and then this is my thoughts on BTC for everybody's a proper in-depth analysis. Not trying to make you fall asleep though. Okay. Support resistance levels, those are irrelevant right now. But what we have for Bitcoin is we've been trending bearish, and it's easy to look at this from a range point of view and say, okay, right, yes, when we range bound, you have your deviation or your divergence, and then you fall back in the range, and that's normally your cue to go short. And when you fall out of the bottom of that range, there's your trend continuation. We did it there as well, and so forth, which means the bearish view that Val had in the beginning, and this whole 71 thereabout, if we fall below that range, the argument is that this could be just another continuation of this, chop around and then go down lower. So I don't want to be blind to that being a possibility. But what I normally know, or what I normally think, let me just bring Joe back. What I normally say to myself is, with this kind of thing, is I need to have a little bit of more detail layered into this. And if I look at divergences, just by the simplistic nature of what it is, you have your higher time frame, create your sell-off out of the range. You see there where the trend is forms, sell-off out of the range when the trend starts. And normally at that point, your RSI will give you a pivot. Strong point for you to consider that's when the market decided bearish and it played out. It's not, it made up its mind that it was in harmony. So that's a critical point. And that means if I look at that move and I look at statistically when the next continuation will happen from a Fibonacci level, it's
you cannot
there.
be sharing that type of alpha. That's crazy.
Yeah, I tend to, if
you're spilling the secrets. What the fuck?
Yeah, there's only 200 people going to learn the secret today. Okay. But in any case, so if you look at it like this, and you look at where the divergence then occurs statistically, that's hidden bearish divergence. And the reason I'm saying 80K or 78.8, I mean, your Ikimoko lines up with 78.8. These are the three levels that statistically will be the area where price goes and visits for that next continuation, purely on divergence. Then we can layer in additional information as always. So
you're betting on another downside.
I'm betting on another downside long term, but I'm betting on upside first for the more downside to happen, because you need to build momentum before you can really have a big move. All we have now done is,
what will be your main support?
Well, I'll show you there now. I'm going to show you that now. Let's just layer in one more dynamic before I do that for you, if you don't mind. So if we look at this thing and I say, okay, right, now we've got waves. We can count the waves, and this is the reason I'm saying more downside. If we look at this and we clearly know where 2 is and 4 is, because what typically happens, price doesn't overlap that point, but the RSI does. All those various things. Then we're technically between a 3 and a 4 retrace to finish the move, so they still will be a 5. What do I have to substantiate that or to support that? Well, the weekly time frame and the RSI is giving you no divergence. Remember, when you look at this bigger picture, weeklies will have divergence, just like it did there at the bottom of the bear market. There you had divergence, and you had
every single time.
Yes, so you have to be patient. To the higher time frames need to catch up to your lower sentiment and vice versa. So we don't have that yet. So it can't be called a bottom or top, because it's literally just the beginning of a pivot. We created a pivot. We still have not tested or shaken it out. So that's why I'm saying there's going to be lower areas. Now, the funny thing is, where could that be? And this is the tricky part now. Where could those levels be? So I'm going to go back daily time frame. Just going to take away the RSI real quick, and I'll switch off the waves for you guys and the divergences. Now, if that is the case, that we're going to go lower still, what happens is, statistically, you've got another fib level. When you create your range, let's say we're starting to near the top, like we did here at 120. What will happen is when you create your range, there's certain levels that the market will go and visit as well. And then those areas would be the high probable zone for where the divergence plays out. It's a strong bearish divergence that reverses this. And those levels, again, is laid in this fib as we are. So we've created, in my opinion, we're here somewhere and we're doing this. It's not going to look like that, but we're doing this. And those levels are the ones that the market will go and hit. Now, if I do the exact same thing and saying where we are right now, we at these lows. And yes, maybe this was an overextension. You know, the market doesn't necessarily mean that it has to do this to end. It could blow off, goes and, you know, so Wyckoff basically teaches that nicely. So let's ignore that low for now, just because it was really, because it's like this low, just got too quick, you know. And we say, right, this is the bottom, and somewhere in this imbalance is where the level is going to be, okay, where we're going to retrace, be it 80,000 or be it 86. I'm going to move it into 83, just give it a good average mean. That means level-wise, we're sitting in this area for when the higher time frame, this weekly, is going to be preemptively going to create its bullish divergence. Then you can layer in smart money concepts and say, okay, right, but if that's the case, where's the demand zone? Well, there's the demand zone that lives in there. So you've got confluence around that level. What else can we do? You know, we can say, okay, right, if this is the entire move, statistically, when do the bear market bottoms end? Well, we can lay that level in there, and we look at the long-term fib, the fib reload level. There we go. And that's the 618 of the entire move. Okay, so those kind of things. But I think the most interesting chart for me to say that it's going to go lower is this chart, actually. And let me just bring it up for you. It's this one. And this is my time analysis chart. And the way that this one works is actually very simple.
I like that.
But
what's the next important day you have in there?
August this year. And if you look at it,
very long term.
Yeah, so if you look at this one, and you look at the time analysis based on the halvings, and this is just a fixed point where we can measure from. When we look at the 38.2, that's normally when you top, 618 you bottom, 38.2 you top, 618 you bottom, 38.2 you top, 618 you bottom. And it's like you said, with time analysis, it's just like anything. It could be 1 month early, 1 month late, but it's in that region. You know, nearest makes no difference. And if I then do this and I say to myself, if we want to go and look at this scale of time, if we take forever to full 80K, then we can say maybe 58.60, that divergence that I've pointed out is going to be there, because what happens with divergences, again, as long as you stay above that initial divergence pivot, you can dream big. You can still say that there might be some move left. But as soon as we fall below that range, that's where my 10K comes in, because then things become bad, because now you're falling below critical levels. And now you're talking long-term bear market. And where we are right now is a tough one. So for me, I want to see us go and hit that 80. And then I want to see us go make a lower low reasonably between this area. And if we can do it quick, I want to go and trade this thing to 10K. If it takes forever, I'm not going to hold my breath for 10K. I'll probably be buying 50 or 60 as my low. So that's my idea.
Well, there's nothing else to say. You're reading my mind.
Yeah.
No, I think the same thing. On Ichimoku, well, not Ichimoku, probably blend of GAN, Ichi, and waves and particles. I have a major date. I'm going to tell you right now what I think. Probably people here will know what the Academy knows too. So there's a major date, a very important inflection point around mid-April. I believe it's April 13th on the weekly or something like that. So what I think is that Bitcoin might hit right now 68, 66, 70, something around that area, and then go back up. And
April 13 or April 30?
13th, around mid-April. It's on the
Oh,
weekly. I don't remember the number exactly. I think it's 13 or 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a weekly candle.
Got it. I've got a mark in there.
So I think we have two major levels right now in terms of waves and particles theory. That's going to be 80 and 90 to talk round numbers. It's like 79, 900, and the other one is 992 something. But let's say 80 and 90. So and those are the two same levels for Ichimoku right now, the Tenkan and the Kijun on the weekly. So there's a possibility to break 80, but I highly doubt we break that right now. So that's what I'm saying. You're reading my mind. So I think we're gonna fool around basically between 70 and 80 for the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks even. And then we're gonna go back down. Whether in my buy area is the same thing that you have, either 60 or 50. So 52 to talk exact numbers is gonna be 52 or 64. So regardless of weeks. So yeah, I think mid-April is a point in time when we really need to pay attention to, because that could be a local top on the daily. If we start to form a distribution. And so yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I'm actually
makes for an interesting topic, because I mean, if you look at the time analysis, this is now gone. That's my adaptation of gone, looking at when divergences occur and the angle and speed and momentum at which price is moving. So gone is most line space time into the future, meaning you draw something and the anticipation of where it's going to be in the future by when it's going to be there. So now you have a really good indication. So if I do that and I look at this bear trend and we look at when the divergences occurred that you were talking about in the future, when we hit the imbalance, everything kind of lines up at that stage. You know, we had divergence, we had imbalance, and you had price meet up in time there. So now you have,
if you know how to be patient, of course.
Yes. And that's why I'm saying I'm waiting. I'm patient bullish, because I understand that. I mean, we can do this and then go imbalance at that stage, which, you know, we all know the market can do anything. But in all fairness, at some stage there will be an alignment with divergence being somewhere in an imbalance, being this one or this one, for that matter. And we do have time, because now I know by when the market's going to want to try and get to that area. And the longer we chop around this range, let's say we do this painful thing where it just doesn't move, Bitcoin just falls back and creates like a lateral range here and a range there, it becomes more plausible. And yes, who's to say we hit there, consolidate, and then sell off there? I mean, that kind of version of something in time, you know. So this is more for the audience sake, not for any of your sake, is don't let a preconceived idea or picture form now that it needs to print like this, because it's going to print.
I love that you drew that, because actually I think right now I haven't looked at USDTD or dominance or any of those charts in months, literally since December. But if Bitcoin's fools around inside the Kumo for a month, I think the real play here for the next 4 weeks, it's going to be to extract as much money as you can from alts, because a lot of them are having bull trends on the 4 hour, and a lot of them are lagging, and a lot of them are going to move. So if Bitcoin is able to fool around between this area and 80 in the next 4 weeks, make no mistake, with every single green candle Bitcoin has, alts are going to move hard, at least to retest the major resistances on their weekly charts. So I think it's time just to let Bitcoin do its thing and probably keep an eye on alts in the next 4 weeks, and then, you know, cash out, let the market do what it needs to do.
Yeah, there's the total too. A really good example of just that. I mean, if you look at this now, what have you created? Your strong bearish divergence. You fell below the pivot, which is why I say that's the danger. So you start falling below it. And the same thing will happen. You'll have the same thing there. That's a bottom signal. And if you want a bottom signal, you need the same thing for bottom signal there. And if you have a continuation of move signal, typically what will happen is price will go and give you a lower low on the RSI. So let's just hypothetically say and it's easy to do TA when you look back at the past. We all know this, so it's easy to not get it wrong. Let's say that's a 1, that's a 2. Then there needs to be 5 ways: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do that. And if that is the case, well, that needs to be a 3, and then that needs to be your 4, and then that needs to be a 5. But then there's rules that says, but 4 can't be the shortest in time. So then that maybe is the 3, and then this is part of the 4 and the 5, and there's all this, but now 5 needs to be this, and then it brings it back down to, if I simplify this, as an A. Come on. An A, a B, and a C, of which C needs to be 5 waves. And then yet again, if we then use that same principle, then C's 5 waves, what do we need to see the market then give us a bottom signal? We first need to go up again, because if I dive this into the daily time frame, let's load this real quick. It's going to take forever. Come on. 1, 2, 3, go. There we go. What needs to happen is, just like the other alts, once you have that last sell-off, that inflection point when the market decides, okay, so there's the pivot. What happens is you've got hidden bearish divergence. I can apply that strat again there, and so right there's the strat 4. Statistically, that's the area where it's going to happen. Now you have that same inflection point, and it lives right there. And it could be that this is exactly now what the market needs to do. And if that is the case, it's that same 4-hour thing. This needs to be bullish in order to be bearish long term, and just supports the idea that the alts being overexhausted and starting to create 4-hour bull trends.
Love that.
Yeah, it works in harmony with that.
All right, guys, I gotta go. That's why I wanted to share that. I love you all. Thank you very much for having me again.
Yes, it was awesome.
Joe, thank you, man. It was great talking, dude. It's great talking again.
I promise next time I'll bring my laptop and my charts to go along with the conversation. Take care, brothers. See you around.
You have a great week. Safe
Thank you, you too.
Bye-bye.
Then there was 2, Rudo. Then there was 2.
Then there was 2. Speaker to me, the language of charts. So what's your feeling on alts in general? As opposed to now the ones that you're overextended in, like your Aokis, your favorites. Let's talk
yeah. So I think, like, with alts, like so I was actually talking to someone about this recently, and I think it was yesterday actually, and I like where alts are at compared to where the majors are at, because alts have had a terrible run for much longer. Like they've led this bear market very well, like way earlier last year, as Bitcoin and Sol and ETH were, still pumping. Like a lot of the other alts were just down. They're down bad, bro. Like everything was just like in this crazy downtrend. Not ETH. ETH was a lot newer here. I'm trying to find the what's that?
OG alt. I mean, you can talk any OG alt basically.
Yeah, there's an altcoin market cap versus altcoin versus BTC, right? It's like what is that one? There's a chart for it. Anyways, there's a chart for it. But it perfectly describes how the majority of the altcoins have just had a terrible bear market in the not near term, but the much sooner than like Bitcoin, for instance. Bitcoin had that massive liquidation event on 10/10 along with the other majors, and they had this terrible drop off along with the rest of the market, alts included. But what we're seeing now is some life being born into some of these alts, like River, like EAT, like a number of them, Hyperliquid, etc., where they're starting to diverge a little bit from Bitcoin's price action. And what that tells me is that maybe alts are going to be the leader here again, and maybe lead a bull rally, where capital is trying to find a safe haven. Like, obviously, you have a lot of geopolitical risk happening right now. You have a lot of tension. You have a lot of inflation worries. You have a lot of there's just a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. And I feel like Bitcoin will be a leader in the bull market again, in the sense that we'll see Bitcoin move to the upside faster than we'll see the stock market maybe, or maybe some other commodities out there move up. But I think altcoins may have a leg up even higher than that, or sorry, faster than that than Bitcoin. So I'm hopeful. That's my personal like kind of philosophical point of view. Nothing data driven behind that thought. It's more so of just a sentiment, an overall sentiment in the market. But I think if you're not paying attention to alts right now, especially super cheap alts like EAT token, you're going to be missing out on massive gains when we do hit that rally.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. So the honest answer for everybody here is that nobody knows. And in order for you to be in the movie, you're gonna have to draw a line somewhere and take some risk, and that's the hard one. Coins I do like right now, based on what you're saying, is Validity. It's been holding this support. It's still trending bearish, but the RSI is moving to the upside. I've been keeping an eye on that one. So keep an eye on that one, guys. Doesn't necessarily mean move everything in there. I'm just saying that I like that one at the moment. Enzo, for me, is still one that's been holding strong on support, but you do have that gap there. And there's a good XMR fractal. Whichever one dumps first, you'll basically see. So keep an eye on that one. I've got my eye on that one for a potential bounce, say, to $1.90 from $1 thereabout. If the market now, if Bitcoin wants to go and become really bullish. So keep an eye on that one. And then another one, I want to get to it. Where is it? It's right here at the top. I'm going to be there right now. Sentient, which is sadly now broken through support that I didn't want it to break through. So I was looking at Sentient on a 4-hour time frame, and I wanted to be bullish with this thing and try and get this thing going to at least, say, 33 thereabouts. Now, we had quick little pumps, but where we're at right now, Sentient is dead. So this one's probably going to die. But when they die, we know at a later stage, there will be a reaccumulation. So keep an eye on that. I'm just warning you guys that this was one that I was really bullish on. I'm no longer. It's failed. It's probably going to now go and do this.
It's failed.
Yeah, it's simple. And a good example of something that it's failed would be probably like a river. If you think about this, when you're holding on to something that needs to go up, and then if it doesn't, you need to call it. You need to say it's over. And I mean, River, they went down 40% again, built a new base, and then rallied. And it could be that Sentient needs to do the exact same thing now. It needs to build a new base at a lower price. And then from that point on, rally. A coin that I would be just as well to add to this, this is Pippin. You want to hold when it falls. It's going to hurt you. So don't be falling in love with these coins now. 4-hour time frame means short time frame. VVV,
what's the beautiful thing about shorting though too, right, Rudo, is that you can play both sides. So if you find coins that you think are in an area that you think they're going to go down, or that maybe they're overvalued, by all means justify a short position. If you think you
can argue that everything is overvalued, because that's what a bear market is. The irrational valuation that was assigned to some of these coins and projects from day one needs to be repriced. And it means that everything is going to dump at some stage. It's just
I think a lot of the value shift in the market is going to, hopefully, at least I feel, from some of these dead ghost chains, is going to flow to meaningful altcoins. Things like River, maybe things like Zcash, things like EAT, Alki, like these guys that Link, exactly, like actually useful protocols that are being utilized. Where value, I feel hasn't accrued to in some time. Look at Link right here, $9. $9.26. That's a great price for Link, I think, especially based on those technicals. I think it's an amazing price to get in, especially in a spot position on Link. That's solid.
Yeah, the one thing I think that the big crypto market in general is still suffering from is the tokenomics has not been sorted out completely, and the true valuation of the company is not really reflected in the tokenomics. But how is that different from a stock price from a publicly listed company? It's not.
It's not
So
different. We see PE ratios of 250. It's those are crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the optics on this. So what is the optics on something like Link versus the optics on something like a DEX or the optics on AI? AI cannot function without an oracle in a way, if you think about it from anything blockchain related, because you still need the outside plugged in through something that verifies the data, which in this case is Link, to do anything with it. And and Oracle services is just as important as AI for that matter, because it's the way that
blockchain can't work without Oracle services.
Yes, so your Deepin, anything, all those companies, they're going to plug in through an Oracle system in any case, because they're going to need to have verifiable data at some stage. So it's a necessary part of the chain. It's just like the privacy coins. I mean, the last bull cycle, they weren't sexy, and this time around, Link was in the beginning when we just started. This was Bitcoin 15K. Link did this. And it was like, oh, Link is going to make us a hell of a lot of money, guys. I mean, I was on that bandwagon saying that this is gonna pump. Look at this. This is gonna turn into a little flat line. We're gonna be up here. And okay, how wrong was I? And that's irrational overvaluation of something.
And that's fine. And that's fine.
I don't know. Nobody. And you learn and you grow but in all fairness, the utility behind the long term will see that this does well. So you can think of this almost as an early Apple play after the dot-com bubble, or an early Tesla play, when it started becoming mainstream traction. This is not even there yet. So those kind of coins you need to keep an eye on.
100%, man, 100%. And I do want to say it's been a great conversation today. It's been an amazing stream. I do have to get going here in just a sec, but I wonder if you have any kind of thoughts to leave us off with, Ruda, before, because I have my own personal takes as well, but I would love to hear from you on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon for you.
Yes.
And with the FOMC, the federal funds meeting happening in a little bit here, thoughts on the market, man? What's going on?
So the way that I'm looking at this is real easy. I mean, the dot plot, as Kapoor was pointing out earlier, is basically an indication of where the FOMC wants to bring the CPI data, where they want to be, where inflation needs to be. And where we're at right now, we kind of balanced in the area with one outlier. I don't know who's the guy that said it needs to be at 2 still. So in all fairness, there's a consensus that where we're at right now, nearest makes no difference, is where we want it to be. So my feeling with this is that, the funds rate is going to be a nothing burger for that reason. But what I do know is, and this is crazy, and it's so simple, is that when the Fed pivots, and I mean, there you had pivots and corrections and pivots and corrections, there's always going to be a crisis somewhere along the line. It's proven as a trend. There's only, I think, one instance where there wasn't a real big crisis. Now, the red line being the stock market, you can see that when the Fed pivots, the black line, federal funds rate, there's a correction and a recession that follows those gray vertical boxes. It's proven to be like that. How long it runs, I mean, people were questioning what is a recession in 2021 and 2022 again. So, there's always going to be a news narrative. But for that reason, I'm saying if we can hold the rates, it means that the market's going to be wrong. We anticipate it's going to go lower. We look at these, I look at these things and I say, okay, it has to dump. Gold has to go down now, and what if it doesn't? Because it's just that. So that's my feeling. I mean, it has to go down. Something that did this needs to go down. Common sense now. But what if it needs to go there first before it does that? So it's what
if we're seeing a whole new dynamic being born, right? Like, what if this is what if this actually is different this time to a degree,
Well, it's going to be different in the moment. Afterwards, it's going to be the exact same. You're going to know exactly what you should have done. But look at this. S&P 500 is starting to test lower ranges, falling below divergence pivots. This is scary times in that market. And how can we manipulate this to be bullish again? Well, hold the funds, because the anticipation was very simple, and this is not hidden information. Fed pivots, market dumps, you start selling. Fed holds the rate, maybe we buy the dip, and that's maybe what this is. So what's going to come from that data, we don't know. But inevitably, if they hold, we're maybe going to buy the dip. Then there's going to be more bull. Simple as that. That's my feelings and my thoughts. Over to you, Will. I'm going to bring up your chart. Maybe you can take it home.
It's very similar, very similar. I mean, you can see Bitcoin pulling back here quite a bit. I overall think we will more than likely have a big nothing burger kind of day. If the Fed rate is the proposed expected forecasted rate, so if they just remain stable, they don't lower, they don't raise. I think the price action of the market has already really digested that information. It's already priced all that in. And so I don't really think we'll see much. What people are really going to be looking forward to, though, is the Fed meeting after the rates are announced. So everyone's going to be on their toes, on their heels, listening to Jerome Powell and listening for some kind of inkling of a indicator as to what their thoughts are on the move going forward. And so I think the market will react extremely to that. You're going to see the S&P move a lot. You're going to see the NASDAQ move a lot. And in turn, you're going to see Bitcoin react a lot to that as well. These very hyper liquid assets, or these indexes, if you will, with Bitcoin kind of acting as like the global monetary index or global supply index. And so I think that we'll see some crazy price action today. If I was a swing trader, if I was a spot buyer, even leverage trader, like any kind of trader of Bitcoin here, I would probably wait until after the meeting to seek some kind of reaction, because it's going to basically upset anyone in a trade. We're going to see a lot of violent swings to the upside, possibly a lot of violent swings to the downside. It's going to be kind of a bonanza fest. So I always kind of wait until the aftermath to see, one, if this trend is still true, if this trend still holds true, or two, if the trend breaks because of the meeting, because of the information, and we either rip to the upside or go to the downside, and then make a play according on that. Because the beautiful thing about leverage trading, guys, the beautiful thing about trading in general is that we don't have to be in the market at all times. We can choose to enter the market when we want to. And so I don't know about you, but me personally, I've had a much better time waiting for trends to form based on, like, after all this information has been digested into the market, and then taking advantage of that and saying, hey, listen, there's always opportunity for me. Just because I didn't buy in at the lowest point or sell at the highest point, I can still take advantage of that information, of the trend, and short when I need to short, or long when I need to long, and still make some money. Because that's the whole point of trading, is to make money. It's to not, be fortune tellers. It's not be right. And it's not to time the bottoms perfectly. It's not to time the tops perfectly. It is to survive and make money. Don't lose money. That's pretty much the gist of where I'm at. I'm going to wait to trade. Yeah. What's up?
First rule of trading: don't lose money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you want to make more money than you're losing. You're going to lose money sometimes. That's fine, but don't make foolish decisions thinking you can predict. Oh, based on what Jerome Powell, I saw him eating breakfast at a cafe and he ate a bagel. It's like that's bullish to me. I think he's going to say some positive things about Bitcoin. Let's go.
It has to go up then, yeah.
Exactly, it has to go up, because you're going to get wrecked if you trade like that. So just wait, guys. Seriously, just wait. There's no point in trading before FOMC. I mean, you could scalp if you want to. You can try take advantage of some small moves here, but it's just very chaotic today. And so I'm going to wait to do anything really. But really great stream, Rito. Really great stream. I love doing this with y'all. I know we'll be live again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern on the Spaces side. So we'll still be spitting some alpha. We'll share some screenshots then. But I don't know if you have any kind of final words here before we wrap it up.
I think I've said it all. We've exhausted the topic, in my opinion. Guys, do us a solid. Do the follow, do the retweet, do the share the video with a friend. Let's get people into crypto and keep them into crypto in a responsible manner. We're not trying to hype pump anything. We're just sharing the TA, let the charts do the talking, and leave you with enough information so that you can, by yourself, make an informed decision. As always, this is not financial advice. This is just guys sharing their opinions. That's it. And I think that's it. Let's end off the stream there. Thanks so much. I'm looking forward to next week. As we do this more often every week, we will get better at the way we deliver the content, how we're going to go about this, guys. So leave a comment. Tell us what you liked about the stream. Tell us what we can do to be more informative. We're doing it for you in the end of the day. And then we can grow and develop and build this with you guys. Well, Thanks so much,
Yeah.
my friend. You have a lovely
Of course,
day.
man. Oh, you too, you too. And before we go, everyone, make sure you're following all the guests that were on stage. You see their tickers down below. You see their tags down below. They're on X. You have Valcoins. Obviously, you have Wolf Crypto X. That's me, yours truly, right here. You have Kapoor. You have Joe Mitoshi at Crypto Says. You have Crypto God NYC, and you have Wizard. So make sure you guys are following all those peeps. They're posting charts constantly, posting alpha constantly. You need to get that alpha. Trust me. I get it from them all the time. I follow Rudo up here. Make sure you're following the chart artist. If you're not subscribed to his channel, if you're not following him on Twitter, you're missing out completely. This guy spits alpha daily. Seriously, check him out. With all that being said, thank you guys so much. Like I said, we'll be live on Spaces tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, same time as the stream here. Really excited for next week, Rudo. And I guess you want me to end it with my catchphrase, or
Throw it. I want to hear it.
we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.